I'm calling for Austria to join NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and to be a full member of the Western free world, and that is very important. Austria has been always free because of the enormous contribution of America in the Second World War, because it was America who was supporting the Soviet Union from 1941 onwards. And it was American tanks, material, finances, and a lot of this important $1 trillion support of Lend-Lease, which was securing the ability of the Soviet Union to come to Vienna. And it was America who liberated Western Austria. Let's not forget that. So America has then, after the Cold War started immediately in 1945 already, the Soviet Union didn't allow any form of freedom towards their liberated and then very soon occupied territories in half of Europe. And that was the reason for the Cold War, and America has kept Austria free and has fought for the removal of the Soviet troops via neutrality. Thanks a lot for the support of America. And Austria could also participate in the Marshall Plan, and it is a free and successful country because of American support. I want to thank the American people for their support, and I want to say no to a Soviet Union kind of narrative of liberation. They have also occupied. One tyranny was replacing the next one, and so the whole of Eastern Europe was under this Soviet yoke. And now Russia wants to impose this Russian yoke again on parts of Ukraine. They will not succeed. We will be more united. Austria will join NATO. And that's the best way for the left, for the right. No matter what ideology, we are all safer inside NATO. But I want to make the Austrian left, who hates the military, a big offer here at this moment. Yes, let's join NATO, but let's make an Austrian special deal, yeah? We just basically dissolve our secret services, because they're anyhow working with Russia mostly. So dissolve our secret services, and also let's dismantle all our military capacity, and let's basically join NATO, but on a non-militarized basis. In a way, there is also Luxembourg in NATO, there is also Iceland in NATO, and also Malta should be in NATO, and they're all very insignificant military powers, and it is absolutely fine if we negotiate entry into NATO, but we give up our military assets because they are anyhow meaningless. We can have a form of national guard, like Vermont National Guard, somehow to train people, and we can pay a membership fee towards NATO so that we also show some solidarity, or put this money into a higher EU contribution for defense. That's fine, but let's just make the step that we are no longer outside of this solidarity union, and that we can hide our anti-Americanism, anti-Semitism, our anti-capitalism, our hatred towards the West under this cover of peace, neutrality, and all these things. It's not so important for me if we have a military career for our guys, or that we can defend. We can have other ways. Anyhow, there will be no Russian troops anymore in Austria because of the reality of the big defense shield of pro-Western Ukraine and all the other countries which are NATO members between Ukraine and Austria. So we are safe. We should pay a little bit more in contribution, I think so, but we can dissolve the military. It's no problem, Mr. Menasse, who is writing me these emails. We can also basically dismantle our foreign security services and most of our secret services who are working anyhow for Russian, send them in early retirement, but at least they should keep their secrets, and we don't need a military defense agency. We don't need all these things. We can rely on our NATO partners to do that much more efficiently. And you know, if Austrians then want to do a military career, there will be maybe direct ways to serve in other NATO armies, and we can lift that restriction. But our military is mainly anyhow useless, and to reform it is, I think, impossible. So that is my offer to the Austrian left. Let's join NATO, to come clear and clean with our tragic past and to be fully in NATO, but on a non-militarized manner. So nobody can be afraid that our children will be in NATO wars or something like this. A special deal for Austria inside NATO, I think that's one way to do it. It can be also a similar deal for Ireland and for Malta, and it's a bit different in the heavy militarized island of Cyprus, with a Turkish military base, with a British military base, with massive American assets there already. And also I think the Cypriots have also significant military, at least in air defense and other issues. But that's a different issue because of the occupation, the division. But in the three neutrals left, also Cyprus is not a neutral country, they would join NATO immediately if they could, and if Erdogan allowed them. But we have the situation with Malta, Ireland and with Austria. They all have this peacenik narrative, they have no significant military, and they have a money laundering tradition with Russia. And so we can easily make an offer, and NATO should make that offer, of a non-militarized Icelandic membership status. There will be membership in NATO, but there will be also no military kind of necessity. Austria doesn't have a big military tradition anyhow. We lost all our wars only against our own population. We were successful in 1848, but to my best knowledge there was no Austrian victory since participating in the Napoleonic Wars, and this was mainly a Russian-British victory and not the Austrian one. Yeah, there was one in I think Aspan or one of them. So that's the situation. Anyhow, so that's more or less my offer to the Austrian left on this historic point of view. I'm also against the removal of this Soviet monument. It is enough to redesign it into an Allied victory monument and to erase the name of Stalin. Maybe even that is not necessary. And actually it's very good here. I just want to show you that the family Schwarzenberg has painted here the Ukrainian colors into, and that's the property of family Schwarzenberg. It's under renovation. They are doing a parking garage, but they pointed this one. And that's a very special place here. I really like it a lot, and it's beautiful here. But just, to have this kind of victory monument, it is absolutely wrong, and we should remove this direction, because it was a joint Allied victory, and obviously so many Soviet soldiers died between 41 and 45. But let's never forget that they have also started World War II by allowing Hitler, via the agreement, the infamous Pact of August 39, to start his attack to divide Eastern Europe between the Soviet Union and between Nazi Germany, because that was the purpose of that pact, and that was the reason for World War II. And yes, so is the historic truth, and we should be very clear on that one. And we should be also very clear that there is no single reason for neutrality. There is no European Defense Union against NATO. We are all in NATO. We are all the same in Europe, and we should be all protected together with our American allies against Russian aggression, because that's since 1949 the reason for NATO. Thanks a lot for that. More to come from Pax Europiana here, and for peace in Europe, built on a joint, strong NATO alliance with Austria as a member. Bye.